Hey, thanks for stopping by, if only even one. It's been a while since I put out any fresh new content. I just want to let everybody know that I'm still here, still plugging away. I'm going to be working on putting out more and more stuff for this channel, as well as for the Minnesota Black Robe Regiment channel. Planning on kicking off my open air preaching season here in about a month as weather starts to stabilize here in my region. So look forward to having more open air preaching videos out. I'm also going to be doing some more sermon breakdowns, sermon critiques coming up, and along with some more apologetics work. I've got a couple of apologetics programs in the mix that I want to do. I want to talk about something sobering today. I lost a friend today. Not a a person that I spent all my time with, not a person that I hung out with on a regular basis really ever, but we had a very good friendship in as it revolves around the work that we do. A good camaraderie. He always had my back and I always had his. And we didn't always see eye to eye on things, but he was a good ally. And he was a stand-up dude. And he died today. And see, his death isn't just about me, because he has friends and family that obviously love him and care about him. But more than that, the frailty of life struck home to me today. And see, this friend, while we didn't spend any real time together apart from our occupation, one time a couple of years ago when I was preaching in Lanesboro, he had every opportunity while he heard me preaching to walk away and not even let me know that he was there, but he walked boldly up to me and said hello, introduced me to a significant other, and we had a really good conversation. And he heard the gospel. And I don't know what, if anything, he thought of what he heard, but I know that he wasn't ashamed enough of what he did hear from me that day to turn around and pretend that he didn't know me. And he didn't pick on me, and he didn't mock me, and he didn't scorn me for the preaching of the gospel. And I know some of you would say, well, you weren't preaching it right if he wasn't mocking you and scorning you. But I want you to ask yourselves, where am I in that story? When is the last time you've been impacted by the sudden passing of someone that you thought maybe you were going to have a chance to see again? I just talked to him the other day. Didn't cross my mind to tell him, hey, if you need anything, let me know. If you need me to pray for you, or how are things going? How are you feeling? None of that crossed my mind. And I'm kind of disappointed in myself for that. And we can let ourselves get hung up on and torn down by the what ifs and I should haves and I could haves and I didn't and I wish I had's. But sometimes these reminders come into our lives to keep our minds in focus. There is so much more to life than what we so often fail to grasp. And we cling at things and we cling to things and we scrape and we fight for stuff that ultimately in the end probably doesn't really matter. And that doesn't mean we're not supposed to have things that we hold near and dear and that we're willing to fight for. But are you preaching the gospel? Are you willing to look the fool in front of people who could very easily belittle you and mock you? And not just strangers that pass by, but people that you see on a regular basis, coworkers, neighbors. Are you doing that? Are you willing to look a fool for Christ? Are you willing to say to yourself, it doesn't matter what they think of me? Ultimately, we can't be in control of a person's final destination. Their salvation is not in our hands, nor is it ultimately in theirs. Salvation is a gift from God, purchased at an incredibly high price of the life of the Son of God, the God-man Jesus Christ. And I think we forget that. Somehow we believe that we can woo and win people into the kingdom by being amiable and just the right kind of person and having just the right approach. And we should be of a good reputation. But are we preaching the gospel? Even if it means great risk to our relationships, our friendships. And when those moments of sudden death come, and we know that for the most part, the majority of people that have heard the gospel from our lips will not be saved. Are we still mourning? Are our hearts still breaking? Are we grieving? Our God does not rejoice in the death of unrepentant people. He may not suffer the way we do in an earthly sense, but he doesn't clap his hands in gladness when people shuffle off this mortal coil and pass into eternal judgment and damnation. We have an obligation to serve our King, to preach the gospel and make disciples of all nations, and leave the finished work in the hands of God. If you see this, challenge yourself, please. Reach somebody with the gospel message today while you still have time. Until next time.